What if a single moment, a fleeting instance of human error, or a chance encounter with nature's unforgiving power, could alter the course of history? It is a question that resonates through the annals of our time. The world we inhabit, with its intricate systems and grand designs, often hinges on the most delicate of threads: a miscalculation, a forgotten detail, an unexpected turn of events. These are the catalysts for profound and often irreversible transformation. From the silent, invisible threat of radiation to the icy grip of the North Atlantic, history is punctuated by moments of unforeseen catastrophe. These are not merely tales of destruction, but stories of consequence, of lessons learned in the harshest of crucibles. They reveal the fragility of our ambitions and the remarkable resilience of the human spirit in the face of disaster. Each event, in its own way, forced a global reckoning, compelling us to reevaluate our relationship with technology, with the environment, and with our own fallibility. They are stark reminders that progress, while relentless, is never without its perils. Today, we journey back to these pivotal moments. We reveal 5 accidents that shocked the world and changed it forever. In the early hours of April 26, 1986, in a remote corner of the Soviet Union, a routine safety test at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant went catastrophically wrong. A sudden, violent power surge in reactor number 4 triggered a series of explosions, tearing the 1,000-ton steel lid from the reactor core and unleashing a plume of radioactive material into the atmosphere. This was not a conventional fire. It was a nuclear inferno burning with an invisible, deadly intensity. The initial explosion was just the beginning of a silent, creeping disaster that would respect no borders. The radioactive cloud carrying isotopes like cesium-137 and strontium-90 drifted on the winds across Ukraine, Belarus, Russia, and eventually over large parts of Europe. It settled silently upon the land, contaminating soil, water, and life itself. The immediate aftermath was a scene of heroic, yet often futile struggle, as firefighters and liquidators battled the blaze, unknowingly sacrificing their health in the process. The world watched in growing horror as the scale of the accident became clear, forcing a global conversation about the true cost of nuclear energy and the profound, long-lasting consequences of a single, monumental failure. In the spring of 1912, a new titan of the seas prepared for its maiden voyage. The RMS Titanic was a marvel of its age, the largest ship afloat, proclaimed by its creators to be, well, practically unsinkable. It was a floating palace of luxury, and a powerful symbol of human ingenuity and industrial prowess. For those on board, from the wealthiest industrialists to the hopeful emigrants in steerage, the journey from Southampton to New York represented a new era of transatlantic travel. The ship sliced through the calm, cold waters of the Atlantic, a self-contained world confident in its own invincibility. But on the night of April 14th, in the freezing, moonless darkness, that confidence was shattered. A fateful encounter with a massive iceberg sealed the ship's doom. The glancing blow tore a series of gashes below the waterline, fatally compromising 5 of its 16 watertight compartments. The unsinkable was, in fact, sinking. The ensuing chaos revealed a fatal flaw. There were not enough lifeboats for everyone on board. The tragedy that unfolded in the icy waters claimed over 1,500 lives. In the quiet of a London laboratory in September of 1928, a discovery of world-changing significance was born, not from meticulous design, but from, well, a simple act of untidiness. The Scottish scientist Alexander Fleming returned from a holiday to find a stack of petri dishes he had left on his bench. One dish, containing Staphylococcus bacteria, had been accidentally contaminated by a stray mold spore. He noticed something remarkable. Around the patch of blue-green mold, the bacteria had been destroyed. An invisible zone of inhibition surrounded the fungus, a clear battlefield where the mold was victorious. Fleming, with his keen observational skills, did not discard the contaminated plate. Instead, he recognized its potential. He cultivated the mold, identified it as a member of the Penicillium genus, and discovered that it produced a substance with powerful antibacterial properties. He named this substance penicillin. Though its full potential would not be unlocked for another decade, this single accidental observation laid the foundation for the age of antibiotics. It was a moment of pure serendipity that would go on to save countless millions of lives, transforming medicine and humanity's fight against infectious diseases forever. In December of 1952, The city of London, a metropolis long accustomed to its characteristic fog, was enveloped by something far more sinister. A period of cold, windless weather trapped a blanket of airborne pollutants over the city. This was no ordinary mist. It was a thick, acrid smog, a toxic cocktail of sulfur dioxide, nitrogen oxides, and soot from the countless coal fires burning in homes and factories. For 5 days this great smog descended, reducing visibility to mere feet, and turning day into a perpetual suffocating twilight. The city ground to a halt. Transportation ceased, and people, unable to see, became lost in their own neighborhoods. But the true horror was the silent, invisible toll it was taking on human life. The pollutants attacked the respiratory systems of the population, particularly the very young, the elderly, and those with pre-existing conditions. Hospitals were overwhelmed by cases of pneumonia and bronchitis. The smog was a killer, ultimately responsible for the premature deaths of an estimated 12,000 people. It was a terrifying, visceral demonstration of the deadly consequences of unchecked air pollution, a wake-up call that would lead to landmark environmental legislation, like the Clean Air Act of 1956, and change how cities viewed the very air they breathed. On the morning of January 28, 1986, the world's attention was fixed on Cape Canaveral, Florida. The Space Shuttle Challenger stood poised on the launch pad, its mission notable for carrying Christa McAuliffe, the first teacher selected for space travel. For millions, especially school children watching in classrooms across America, this was a moment of inspiration, a symbol of the accessible human frontier of space exploration. The countdown reached 0. And with a thunderous roar, Challenger lifted off, climbing gracefully into the crisp blue sky. But just 73 seconds into its flight, this image of triumph turned into one of unimaginable horror. Against the backdrop of the sky, the shuttle was suddenly engulfed in a fiery cloud of smoke and vapor. The external fuel tank had exploded, tearing the orbiter apart and sending it plunging into the Atlantic Ocean. The crew of 7 was lost in an instant. Live on television before a global audience. The disaster was a national trauma, shattering the perception of space travel as routine. The subsequent investigation revealed a fatal flaw in the O-ring seals of the solid rocket boosters, a known risk exacerbated by the cold launch day temperatures. The tragedy forced a complete overhaul of NASA's safety culture and management structure, fundamentally changing the future of human spaceflight. From the atomic heart of Chernobyl to the frozen depths of the Atlantic, from a contaminated petri dish to the skies above Florida, these events stand as powerful monuments in our collective history. They are born of accident, yet their consequences are anything but random. They are the crucibles in which our modern safety regulations, environmental consciousness, and medical miracles were forged. They teach us that progress is a journey fraught with unforeseen risks, and that our greatest triumphs can sometimes carry the seeds of our most profound failures. Each story is a testament to the human capacity for both error and correction. The sinking of the Titanic led to international maritime safety conventions that protect seafarers to this day. The London smog gave birth to Clean Air Acts that have saved countless lives in cities around the world. Even the heart-wrenching loss of the Challenger crew led to a safer, more resilient space program. These are the complex legacies of disaster, painful reminders that often, the greatest lessons are learned through the deepest sorrow. These accidents remind us that even in tragedy, the world can change for the better, or for worse. The path we choose in the aftermath of crisis defines our future. They compel us to ask not only how such things happened, but how we can ensure they never happen again. Turning moments of profound loss into catalysts for lasting, positive change. Which accident do you think had the biggest impact? Let us know in the comments. And if you found this journey through history compelling, please consider subscribing for more stories that shaped our world.